Guys, welcome to Last Call, College Football Week 3. I'm Jo Madden. We're live on various different channels, Kick, Rumble, and of course, WagerTalk YouTube. We got a loaded show today. Please hit that like, hit that retweet button, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, as well as hit that notification bell so you know exactly when we're going live. Now, I'm Jo Madden, like I said, filling in for Kelly in Vegas today, but Ariel will be back tomorrow to take you over the NFL. Today's all about college football, and we got an absolutely loaded show. Art DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook will be stepping in first. Yanni the Greek will then be following up, and we got Teddy Covers to finish off the show. It's going to be a great one here. I can hardly wait for these games to kick off here at noon. Now, if you've got questions for our handicappers, make sure you do drop them in the comment section there. We're going to try to get to all of your questions, all of your comments today. So make sure you do drop them. And as we go over these games, open your odds logics page so that you can follow the best of these lines. You want to make sure you get the best of the numbers. But without delay, let's bring Art DiCesare in from the from Westgate Superbook. Art, that was a mouthful this morning. It's Saturday morning here. It's only 9 a.m. my time. It's 8 a.m. I guess your time though.
Yeah, Joe, happy to be here with you. And, a lot of fun games to talk about. Better weekend than we had last weekend as far as games of interest in college football. So excited to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what are we looking at? You're rolling into week 3 here. How are the books faring thus far in the first couple of weeks in college football?
It's kind of been a mixed bag for us. Week 1, leave week 0 out of it because not much to talk about there. But week 1 was really good for us. Week 2 was not so good for us. So we've kind of been split as far as we go on the early college football season.
Okay, so looking at today, we've got some big favorites again today. We know, like the Ohio State Buckeyes last week, absolutely dominated covering that spread. Where is the biggest spread that you're seeing that you need the opposite side, where you need the dog?
I would say the biggest one right now is an early game, Oklahoma. We opened Oklahoma as low as 21.5. We got to 24.5 this morning on Temple. That is at Temple. We need Temple in the game, despite the nibble back at Temple at 24.5. All the early money on Oklahoma, and that early 21.5 money was sharp, and they even laid 23, which took us to 24. So early on, and that's a 9 a.m. Vegas kickoff time, we will need Temple against the Sooners.
Okay, big noon Eastern, looking for that Temple cover there. If you want to be on the side of the books, Art, I'd rather be on the side of the books than the public. And talking about that public money, where's the majority of public money and love coming today?
There's a lot of action on some of these pretty good games. I would say if you just want to talk Florida LSU, it's one of the big games of the day, and actually our biggest need of the day right now when we look at that game. That opened as high as Florida for us, plus 8.5. We saw pretty good money sharp-wise on Florida early at the 8.5 and the 7.5, and then even saw the public pile in on Florida, take a shot with Florida on the money line. We're now LSU minus 6.5, so we've gotten under the touchdown there. We will need LSU in the game. We will also need Ole Miss in a game against Arkansas. Obviously, Ole Miss has some issues with their quarterback. He was supposedly in a walking boot all week. Looks like it's a game-time decision. Arkansas took money as high as 8.5 as well. That's also under the touchdown. Under 7, minus 6.5, Ole Miss.
Okay, and then when we look at that sharp money, where are the sharps putting their money today, and what do you need on that side of it?
Yeah, sharp money, I would say Georgia Tech is pretty sharp. That's an early game as well. They took 4. They even took 3. We're now Georgia Tech. If you take 3 on that, you're laying minus 120 on that. So sharp money's been on Georgia Tech all week. Sharp money early was on Pitt, 4.5, 5.5, got all the way up to 7.5. There was a nibble back on West Virginia this morning at 7.5, so we're 7 there. That was early sharp money. Sharp money was on Liberty, minus 5, minus 5.5, up to 6 against Bowling Green. Very early in the week, they took that. And here's one that they took at multiple numbers. They laid 14 all the way up to 17 with Arizona State at home against Texas State. We're now 17.5 on the game. Multiple sharps and multiple sharp groups laid multiple different numbers on Arizona State. Texas State will be a big need for us late.
Wow. Okay. So when we're looking at this as well, is there any underdogs, large underdogs that people are betting straight up on the money line that you just need that favorite to come out nice and strong?
Yeah, I would say probably the one that has taken some pretty good money line action. Georgia Tech is one. We had mentioned the money that had come on Georgia Tech. They took Georgia Tech. They also took Vanderbilt. They took a couple shots with Vanderbilt on the money line. Was as high as +4.5, +4 at point. South Carolina is now -3. So they saw pretty good, as they like to call it, the little sprinkle on Vanderbilt. So you did see that.
Okay, well, it sounds like there's a lot of areas where you're needing those dogs to be able to come in with those straight up wins or covering that spread. Where is the biggest game that you really need that dog or that favorite to cover?
Yeah, I would think I'll go back to that LSU Florida game. Right now,
Yeah.
that is our biggest need. Another need for us, and it's a big number we need them to cover. Ohio State. They took Ohio at 32. They took Ohio at 31. We're now Ohio State -29.5. So if the Buckeyes
Wow.
can come out and win that game by 5+ touchdowns, it would be a really good result for us. I don't know. People thinking maybe, I don't know, Ohio State will play nice with the in-state rival. Who knows? But they did take Ohio at those big numbers.
I'm shocked by that, Art. I'm a Buckeyes fan here, and we saw what they did last week. Maybe people are reacting to maybe that little bit of a letdown spot, but I tell you, this Buckeyes team should come out nice and strong. Do you get a lot of first half, first quarter money coming in as well?
As far as the first quarter goes, we don't do first quarter on every college football game. We
Yep.
usually like to pick select games of the day. Like today, I believe we just have three. We have Georgia, Tennessee. We have Notre Dame, Texas A&M. We have LSU, Florida. So we only kind of cherry pick the best games. The first half, I always say with the first half, because even if you're half a point difference, because it's a first half bet, you'll see those bets come in where sometimes on the full game you could be half a point off and it's not that big of a difference, whereas some of the bettors look to take, let's say most places have 17 on a first half for a side, we have 17 and a half. You'll see those 17 and a halves get bought up real quick, especially if you're the only one in the market sitting off, where everyone else has a number. So that happens a lot.
Okay, and then we do have a question in the chat. Hopefully you have an answer for this. Where are you seeing the money coming in with Wisconsin and Alabama? Alabama, they're saying went from 21.5 to 19.5. Are you seeing that love coming for Alabama in this game?
Wisconsin, so like the question, perfect
Yeah.
question. We were as high as 21 on that game. We're now 19 and a half on that game. But sometimes what happens on a game, and it's not anything sharp or anything as far as a big bet goes that moved us. Sometimes we're just moving with the market. Sometimes maybe we don't get hit. We don't get bet on that particular game, and we just move with the market. Obviously, a couple of bets here and there on every side. I think eventually, even though it's an early kick, you'll probably see someone want to come lay 19 and a half with Alabama because now it's well under the 3 touchdowns. But for us, that was us just moving with the market on that game.
Okay, now we are getting questions about where that Clemson game opened at. I'm trying to find it here on the odds logic screen. Art, do you know where that one opened and where you've got it right now?
Yeah, we were as high as 4.5 on the game. We were 4.5 quick, though. Barely took a bet, moved to 4, but we did take early money on Georgia Tech at 4 and 3.5. We're now sitting Georgia Tech 3. Clemson will be an early need for us. And like I said, there were people betting Georgia Tech on the money line.
Okay, well, Art, I wish you guys all the best in all of those bets today. Hopefully, you're on the right side of things, or the public. We'll see. We'll see how things go today. But thank you so much for joining us here on Last Call, here on Wager Talk. You guys, Art DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook. I got it out this time, Art. I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, you heard what the Westgate Superbook is needing in those games today. It's going to be really interesting to see where the public does fare, where that sharp money fares as well. But let's bring Yanni the Greek in. We're going to see him. You can follow him at Greek_gambler. Over on all social media. Yanni, welcome to the show. I know you've been just crushing it with your bet on it college football, NFL. You've also got a Sunday show, which we will get into, which is called Bet the Steam Room with Ace. You got a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Sorry, I'm just firing away right now. These games are coming in live. I have no choice. I got to bet them before these numbers go away. But I'll give you an out for this right now. Give me a second.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep getting those bets in as we talk here, Yanni. I don't blame you at all, you guys. You want to make sure you do go over and give Yanni a follow at Greek_gambler on social media. Yanni, what are you getting in on? Where are those numbers
Oregon, coming? Against Oregon, I just bet Northwestern first quarter +7, and I bet Northwestern +14.5 first half. Fading Oregon in both of those, first half and first quarter. I sent 3% to subscribers in the first quarter. I just sent them another 2% in the first half. Again, those are for subscribers. A lot of this late stuff that's coming in, I'll share right now. It's mostly the derivatives. That's what they're blasting this morning. Most of the sides and totals, unless the public knocks a couple of these lines out of whack, most of those bets have already come in except for the added board, and I'll give you some of those. But so far this morning, some of those derivatives we've been betting are, like I said, Northwestern first half, Northwestern first quarter. We bet Georgia Tech +0.5 in the first quarter. We bet Clemson, Georgia Tech under 10.5 first quarter. We bet Memphis, Troy under 10.5 first quarter. We bet Massachusetts over 3.5 team total. We're firing away over here. And a couple extra added board games for you. 308-907. William and Mary in Virginia over 51.5. They also laid the 28 in Virginia in that game. And then 308-925 over 53.5, over 54 Norfolk Rutgers. And finally, Kennesaw State minus the 14. So that's some of the early stuff that came in that we've been firing away. So busy day of college football. There's also UFC, also boxing. So yeah, NFL tomorrow, big day, big weekend, Joe, big weekend.
Yeah, you're absolutely loaded this weekend. And when you mentioned that William and Mary Virginia game, we are seeing a lot of movement in that line. The 51.5 is only available at a couple of books. So you jumping on that. I'm seeing as high as 53.5 on some of those books in that matchup VR.
Yeah, they move quickly. That's the thing with the added board games. And I don't even use them for the daily card guys. Those are for my subscribers, the guys that partner up with me for a season or the year that I know are already logged into their accounts and they're ready to fire. Because a lot of those bets are what ultimately gives you the most value. Again, the easiest way to know where the book is most vulnerable is to simply ask what the betting limits are. And there's a reason they'll take 100,000 on an NFL side, but they'll only take a nickel on Kennesaw State. There's, other than they can't write a lot of action the other way, which, could be the argument like, wait, we can't get risk the other side. But still, it just shows based on the line movement, just how inefficient the market is. Because if your market's efficient, you don't have a reason to move the line. If you think your line's tight, then keep betting me. Go ahead. You're laying 11-10. I could be wrong and still make money. But if you're seeing me getting 11-10 and I'm moving the line 2-3 points, then rest assured I'm respecting your action and I'm letting you know I think my line was inefficient and you're probably right. And there's nothing more satisfying as a sports bettor than seeing that. Again, I talk about closing line value all the time, and it's really hard to argue that getting closing line value is not a recipe for success. Because again, if you could get out of the head of the market and beat the market in any market, you're going to make some money.
Now, we are seeing quite a bit of movement between Wisconsin and Alabama. We know this one opened 46.5. These numbers are floating around depending on your books. We got 45.5s and 46s for that total. I did see a 46.5 pop up. It is gone now. But Alabama, a 20.5 point favorite coming into this one. Now an 18.5 point favorite on one book. I'm seeing 19 or 19.5, even up to 20.5 on others. Where's your action coming in this game today?
I haven't touched that game. I think the right side is Wisconsin. Those bettors that got in and got the 3 touchdowns, I think that's a great bet, regardless of outcome. And the market kind of reflects that now. Since then, you're starting to see favorite money, Alabama money, at least from the recreational accounts. But when you get into those like big 20 point favorites, they don't get much straight action from the recreational bettors. Most of the time, those are tied into parlays with other big favorites. They tend to do that a lot. They're not really comfortable walking up laying a nickel at minus 18.5, 19.5, as much as putting it in like a parlay or even a money line parlay. But I think the right side, to me, I like Wisconsin. I like the game over too. I see the totals dropping, but I think you could get some points. Again, obviously the narrative is defense, but I always say sometimes great defense is the perfect storm for an over, because the total is going to be shaded towards the bias of good defenses. And then you couple that with good defenses create turnovers. Good defenses create short fields. Good defenses score special team touchdowns. Like, scoring can happen even though good defenses are on the field. And sometimes you can take advantage of that narrative. So that game kind of sticks out a little bit on like there, where I think the over may offer a little bit of value if it keeps dropping.
Yeah, we do have a question here from Thomas Lynch VR. What's the movement on USC and Purdue? Some people like Purdue.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to tell you. If I had to bet the side, I haven't bet the side. I bet the under, and it looks like I may be on the wrong side because the line's kind of climbing, and I hate when that happens. Now I'm hoping to be the product of good luck, because I went under in that game. I think I went under like 59.5, and now it's 60.5. And whenever I could get a better number on Saturday than I did on Tuesday or Wednesday, I always tell myself you did a bad job. Like now I'm hoping, again, to be the product of good luck, and hopefully that game stays under. But the truth is, I took a bad number. You could get under 60.5 today, probably even under 61. And I'm hoping it stays under 59.5. So I got a bad ticket in my pocket, but once you place the bet, it's too late. You can't take it back.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that
I'm hoping for a
weekend.
lower scoring game between Ohio State and Purdue. But I will tell you this, Ohio State's the number one team in the country. I'm sure a lot of people agree with that. But power rating wise, they're starting. Again, we don't have much data. We're now only in week 2 or 3, depending on what you call it in college football. But they're starting to show that they are the cream of the crop, and they're probably 2 or 3 points better than the next best team in college football. I think when the dust settles, we're going to reach that conclusion that they probably are at least a field goal better than the second best team in college football. I don't think we're there yet, but I'm starting to see that this Ohio State's team is legit and arguably should be the number one team in the country and the favorite to win it all.
Well, as a Buckeyes fan, I absolutely love that. For sure, that is my team. I'm looking for them to come out strong as well. What about Crawford here today?
Here we go. Canelo Crawford. Listen, I'm going to just tell you my opinion. I lived here in Las Vegas through the Floyd Mayweather era, and I made a lot of money. I was on radio at that time, and I used to laugh about it, because most people didn't realize that Floyd Mayweather was not only a best friend to Las Vegas because of all the revenue he brought to the city, but he was a fresh friend to the sports books as well, because he was such a big favorite most times, and he was such a villain that just as many people tuned in to watch him lose as tuned in to watch him win. So bettors would line up and bet against Floyd. They would think of every reason to bet against Floyd because they were getting plus money, and they thought that equated the value, but nothing could be further from the truth, because when Floyd Mayweather entered the ring in Las Vegas, he was already up 4-0 on the judges' scorecards. It has nothing to do with being fixed, has nothing to do with corruption. It has to do with influence. And Floyd Mayweather had a ton of influence in the city and in the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And rest assured, Canelo Alvarez on Mexican Independence Day has just as much influence as Floyd Mayweather had over that decade. So unless Crawford's able to knock him out, unless Crawford's able to get a couple 10-8 rounds, I don't see him scoring a decision here in Las Vegas on Mexican Independence Day against Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez will have to get beaten to a pulp to lose a decision tonight. That's not happening. And the flip side, I think Canelo breaks him down systematically, wins the fight. Don't be surprised if he even stops Crawford, who's not going to have the footwork at this weight class that he had 2 weight classes below. He's also 37, almost 38 years old. I understand he's undefeated. I understand it looks attractive as an underdog, but it's in Las Vegas. It's Mexican Independence Day. It's Canelo Alvarez, and at less than a 2-1 favorite with 4 rounds already in my pocket, I'm taking Canelo.
So we just take him straight up on the money line there, then?
Yep, that's it. Okay, that's it. A little sprinkle inside by finish, because it pays so well, because it's so heavily favored to go to a decision. Both men have proven to be so durable, but just in case, you know what I mean? Crazier things have happened than seeing the bigger man stop the smaller man, especially if the referee stoppage, if they start breaking them down in the later rounds. So a small sprinkle on Canelo, TKO, KO, DQ, which probably pays good. But money line, I think, offers more than enough value. Anything better than minus 200, where 2 out of 3 times he wins this fight, you break even. I think it's a great bet, Joe.
Yeah, it definitely is. I want to turn back to some college football here. I want to ask you what you're seeing with Clemson and Georgia Tech. We know Georgia Tech has those questions around their quarterback, Haynes King. Is he beat up enough that we just stay off the home dog here? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm on the under. I like the under. We bet the under in the first quarter in that one. I also saw Georgia Tech in the first quarter. So they expect him to come out well, or it has something to do with who defers and who receives in the kickoff. That's how they bet a lot of these first quarters. So they don't think Georgia Tech is in a disadvantage early in the game. What I'm seeing as far as the betting action, it's good. It's good two-way split action. So this is the game that you want to be booking. Now, obviously, the early sharp money came in. You saw the line move towards Georgia Tech when it was a lot higher. But that was, a little bit of sharper money, and those limits are a lot lower. But as of today, where the limits are large and bettors are betting, recreational bettors as well, I'm seeing good balanced action there. So I'm just hoping for a low-scoring early first quarter for me to cash a ticket. I'm a little
I love where you're going with that one. What about Notre Dame? Notre Dame coming off the bye here, facing Texas A&M. They've been so solid off a bye, especially off a loss. We know in week 1 they did lose to Miami in that heartbreaker that cost a lot of people some money. Where are you seeing the action on this one?
Yeah, I'm seeing Notre Dame money. I'm seeing Notre Dame being teased. Guys, don't tease college football. Don't do it. It's not profitable. The only time that I've ever seen college football teased by sharp bettors over the last 5+ years came in a playoff right before the national championship, where I think you could make that argument. But otherwise, I just don't think it's a profitable strategy. So stay away from the teasers in college football. Too much variance in scoring. You're better off betting Notre Dame minus the 6 if you like it, or whatever the number is right now. I like Texas A&M. I think they could keep it close. I think Miami, which isn't even a top 10 college football team, let alone a top 5 college football team, was able to beat them. And I think when the dust settles and this season's over, Miami will be lucky to be in the top 20. That's the beauty of college football early on. Your record and beating a school like that is going to put you in the top 5 and the top 10 for sure. If you're 2-0 or 3-0 after today, after this week, and beat at least one decent team, you're in the top 5, top 10 in college football. But power rating wise, Notre Dame is not, what's it called? Whoever I was talking about, it was just on the top of my head, is not Miami. Miami is not a top 5 power rated team. So if they were able to beat Notre Dame, I think Texas A&M will able to hang close with them, take the points. Don't be surprised if Texas A&M wins on the money line. I think it's worth a sprinkle, but I like Texas A&M.
Ooh, the sprinkle on the money line there going into Notre Dame. That's going to be an interesting one to see what their offensive line is able to do.
No, stick to Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame better. I like it.
I'm trying to say it so people don't get
mad. The Canadian way is the right way to say it. You guys speak French up there. So if you don't know how to say Notre Dame, nobody does.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, people are begging in the chat for you to throw some MLB at us. What have you got for MLB?
Here's what I could tell you about baseball real quickly. Before game 1 of the series yesterday, 3 series bets got steamed. Okay, can't give you today's MLB because we're still working on that. But here's the 3 series that got steamed. White Sox plus 190, Miami plus 190, Mets minus 150. Miami won game 1, so they got to win either today or tomorrow for that series bet to win. White Sox and Mets both lost game 1. So now they both have to win on Saturday and Sunday for those sharp series bets to cash. So look at the White Sox, look at the Mets today. If you agree with them, probably makes sense to back them. But it's a little early right now. It's been all college football till about 9 a.m., about 30 minutes till kickoff. Then we'll see if there's any baseball to zero in on. Because, again, don't forget, we got MMA today. We got boxing, college football, NFL tomorrow. Baseball take a small back seat today, but we're still going to take a look for sure.
Absolutely. So you said it. We got basically 30 minutes till kickoff here. What else do you have for us before we let you get back to getting those bets in?
Yeah, I'm ready. Like I said, I'm set for a big weekend. I'm excited. Tomorrow we have the steam room leading into the final hour of the NFL kickoff. So if you're a subscriber, you already got the invite for sure. Otherwise, if you sign up, make sure you get the invite for that. We go over every NFL game. We go over our year-to-date results, our goal towards the end of the year coming up. And today, 5% in the college football pass, number 1 in college football, number 1 NFL college football combined 2025 heading into this weekend. And that's up on WagerTalk. Also, combined UFC and boxing. I got 2 boxing bets, 6 UFC bets already in that package. So let's do some damage this weekend. Thank you, Joe, for having me, and best of luck to you today, too.
Yeah, best of luck today, Yanni. Thank you so much for joining us here on Last Call. Crush those books. You guys, that was Yanni the Greek. Make sure you go over and follow him on all social media at Greek_gambler. Also, head on over to WagerTalk.com to get all of his bets. You don't want to miss out on those packages that he has up. And then, like he said, tune in tomorrow. You don't want to miss out on his show, Bet the Steam Room with Ace. He's going to be live there for a couple hours talking all of the NFL games. It's going to come up right after Last Call tomorrow with Ariel. So make sure you jump on that, you guys. We're now going to bring in Teddy Covers to the show from WagerTalk.com. Make sure you drop your questions in the chat for Teddy. Teddy, happy Saturday. How's college football been treating you so far?
Well, good morning, Joe. We enjoyed last night in college football, certainly. The Houston Cougars got the job done for us, and I'm still kicking myself for not betting New Mexico. We saw, I saw New Mexico week 1 against Michigan hang with the Wolverines at the line of scrimmage, and I'm like, is this real? No, Michigan's just not taking them seriously. New Mexico, of course, brought in 70 transfers this offseason. And guess what? They didn't just hang in the trenches with UCLA last night. They dominated in the trenches against the Bruins last night. If there's one team where preseason power ratings, you could throw them out, the New Mexico Lobos should be power rated a lot higher than I've seen anywhere. And obviously we saw that last
35 to 10.
It wasn't UCLA turnovers. It was New Mexico being the better team on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So it wasn't fluky. It wasn't one of those weird games. It was New Mexico beating up UCLA at the line of scrimmage. And that's, again, they hung with Michigan at the line of scrimmage. So you see stuff like that. I watch a ton of college football. I've got the, TV set up. I'll be sitting here for the next 14 hours watching college football.
It's going to be a great day. It really is, Teddy. What do you think of Houston steamrolling over Colorado? They were only a 4-point favorite. They won that one by 16, 36-20.
Sure. They probably should have won it by more. Houston's inability, they only punted once in that game. All right. And they kept on getting shut down in the red zone and settling for field goals, settling for field goals, settling for field goals. When you punt, Colorado was in position to get beat. There's a reason that we had the Cougs. And again, when you have teams that have played twice at home, you put a QB in his first career start on the highway against a decent defense. I'm not shocked at all by the result. I bet on the result of that game, but it wasn't a game where afterwards I'm like, wow, the Cougars are bet on all the way. No, it was just a good spot to go against Colorado, and it played out that way. Houston, not necessarily a bet on team for me moving forward. They're not, I didn't see anything last night that was red flag for the Cougars, but there wasn't. I didn't come out of that game going, this team is way undervalued. We got to bet on the Cougs every week. Not that there won't be options, but it wasn't that conclusion for me. It was more Colorado bad, as much Colorado bad as it was Houston good.
Absolutely. So have you seen a team that's just a total red flag to you where it's like, I'm staying off them for the next couple of weeks till they get everything together?
So I didn't play Wake the other night because I had Wake week 1. And I'm like, this team's not at all what I thought they were going to be. I probably should have bet against them. They had the, kick return touchdown. A non-offensive touchdown in any sport, in any, whether it's NFL or college, those are tough to overcome. ATS, and Wake opens the game with a kick return touchdown, and it didn't matter what they scored. They scored 17 the rest of the way, but NC State certainly controlled the second half of that flow. So the Demon Deacons are a team that I learned the hard way early that they weren't what I thought they were, and that certainly nothing's changed that opinion. After this past the games on Thursday night.
Yeah, so people are saying Wake didn't even score in that second half of that game. Definitely some red flags out there. What are your thoughts today on Miami?
So it's a classic sharp square divide game, all right? All the pros are on Miami. All the Joes are on USF. USF looks so good. Obviously you beat Boise and then you beat Florida. You're doing something right. You talk about the mentality of a program of that caliber. It's not like USF's a bottom feeder. This isn't Kennesaw State. You guys are talking about Kennesaw State. USF's, a quality group of 5 squad. All right. They're not near the bottom of college football. But when you beat Florida one week, the celebrations are pretty strong. The focus level at practice is something of a concern.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going to Miami and Miami's lying in wait, and Miami says, oh, they beat Boise, oh, they beat Florida, hey, we better take this team seriously. One would expect the Hurricanes to be able to control this one. Now, did I bet it? I did not. One of the advantages, I've lived in Las Vegas since 1998. We got here for the 1998 football season. I went back the next summer, sold my house, and brought all my stuff. I'm like, yeah, that'll work for me. And one of the lessons that I've learned over the years is sometimes you tap the brakes on some of these teams that have pulled off a couple of big upsets, but you're not necessarily going to fade them. It's not like, all right, I'm going to lay it with Miami here. Oh, I'm convinced I'm not convinced Miami's 17.5 points better than USF. Nothing I've seen with my eyes tells me Miami's 17.5 points better than USF. So spot-wise, I can't get there with the dog. I know a lot of my colleagues like the favorite in this game. For me, I'm not playing it. It's a pass for me because I've seen teams like USF, even in these spots, cash enough tickets over the years that I'm not in a rush to step in front of.
Yeah, we are hearing those comments. Just no trust in Carson Beck there for Miami. Let's talk 3:30 Eastern matchup between Georgia and Tennessee. Now, this one did open. It's Georgia 6.5-point favorite rolling into Tennessee. We did see that movement in the lines dropping down to 3.5. There are 4.5s out there for Georgia as well. And this total did go from 49.5 up to 50.5 on some books. Where are you looking with this one? This is going to be a big game to see if Georgia's defense can shut down Tennessee, and they've been able to do so in the past, Teddy. We know that. I don't think Tennessee's ever scored more than 17 points versus them.
Well, ever is a mighty long time, but not in any recent meeting. Look at the numbers. 31-17, 38-10, 27-13, 41-17, 44-21, 43-14, 38-12, 41-0. That's not just 8 straight wins for Georgia. That's 8 straight double-digit wins, 8 straight by 2 touchdowns or more. The only spread that Tennessee's covered during this 8-year span was when they were plus 30.5 in a 26-point loss back in 2018. And this ain't no 30.5 right here. One of the things I'm looking for early season college football, team that's been lousy against the spread against a team that's been good against the spread. Georgia, 0-2 ATS. The offense hasn't clicked. They didn't cover 45.5 against Austin Peay. They didn't cover 38.5 against Marshall. They only scored 28 points in one of the two. Meanwhile, Tennessee's 2-0 against the spread, 2-0 to the over. So in this type of spot, a priori, all right, we have a completely one-sided series. We have the team that's lost all those meetings looking good in early season. They covered all the numbers. We have the team that's dominated this series. They haven't covered the numbers so far. Where's the value lie? The value lies with the team that hasn't covered the numbers but has dominated the series. Why is this year different? Again, look at Tennessee versus everybody else. Tennessee averages averages 39 points a game against everybody and 14 points a game against Georgia. And the offense is 150 yards worth. And obviously, Georgia is the national championship contender every year. All right. And Tennessee has a dominant advantage at Neyland. They're 23-1. Their last 24. Of course, the one was Georgia. But for me to be convinced that this year's going to be different, I got to believe in Tennessee more than I do. I got questions about the receiving core. I got questions about Aguilar against a good defense. It's Georgia or pass for this better. History does tell us something, and the value is there for a team that hasn't covered numbers yet this year, was covered numbers against this particular opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially only laying the 3.5. I think they should be able to win that one by a touchdown. I'm with you, Teddy. It is for me as well, them or pass. What do you think on the total here? We're seeing people jumping in. First half total 26, looking fishy. Might be an under a style game. Are you seeing anything that you're liking on those totals?
So this whole fishy number thing that's going around right now, again, when you live in Vegas and you understand how point spreads are made and how totals are made, none of these look fishy. All right. It's team A's, total rating and team B's total rating. And then you mix and mash them together. And this is what you get. The pace of play is in a piece of the equation. The full game total is sitting here 50.5. And I talked about the struggles that Tennessee has had offensively against Georgia. Tennessee correlates with over in this game. Georgia correlates with under. I'm leaning to the Georgia side. Therefore, I'm leaning to the underside, plain and simple. Right? If I thought the Vols could light up the scoreboard, it'd be Tennessee and over. I don't. Therefore, it's Georgia and under. But fishy, the number's right where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
What makes you think it's fishy?
I don't know. I love that you're just coming out with that. So people talked about fishy. What about a trap? We saw in the comments saying, Clemson, why only a 2.5, 3-point favorite? It feels like a trap here versus Georgia Tech. Do you feel that way, Teddy?
No. Okay. So again, why is this line where it is right now? Line open 6.5, Clemson. All right. The bettors have pushed it down. Why have they pushed it down? Well, there's concerns about Clemson, who didn't look great in the opener against LSU and didn't look great last week against Troy. That was a game that they trailed 16-0. Ended up winning 27-16. I watched most of that game, and I thought Clemson, they got punched in the mouth and they responded appropriately. And it was a clear flat spot off the LSU loss. You can make a case that it's a very understandable sluggish showing for Clemson. That being said, it's not like their offense has clicked this year. And Georgia Tech, despite all those turnovers, we know what they did in week one, going out to Boulder and just running all over. I mean, they had 3 turnovers in the first quarter and still did whatever they wanted in that contest against Colorado. And it's a Georgia Tech team that a lot of people have them circled as this year's sleeper in the ACC. So, I heard that all offseason. Watch out for Georgia Tech. They played well thus far. So I'm not surprising Georgia Tech. I'm not surprised at all Georgia Tech's taking the money, especially with Clemson injury. Clemson's going to be missing 3 starters today. Yeah. That said, much like the Georgia-Tennessee game we just talked about, it's been a very one-sided series. Georgia Tech's got to show me they can beat Clemson before I'll believe it.
Yeah, and you got to wonder with Hines King here how mobile he's going to be able to be in this game. Is there any games that you're looking at? It's just the favorite to cover all of the points. It was a game that you looked at that you're just like, okay, got to go there. They're just playing an opponent that you can't trust.
So, I mean, maybe Texas Tech against Oregon State. Oregon State's a team I don't trust at all. Not even a little bit. And Texas Tech's a team that when they get rolling, they're going to keep rolling. So that's a game I want no part of the dog. Laying 23.5, 24 there to be Texas Tech or pass. The Red Raiders. They have their fair share of explosiveness, and it's a long way from home for the Beavers and the wrong weather conditions for them as well. So I would not be surprised at all if they wear down after halftime. So that's one.
Okay. Anyone barking? You got anyone winning this one straight up that's an underdog today, Teddy?
I'm sure there's going to be.
There's got to be a big upset today, right?
There's always a big upset.
Saturday without an upset.
I mean, look, the Vandy South Carolina game is a lot of times the steam comes on the dog, and I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Vandy can beat South Carolina. All right. What Vandy's done this year. All right. There's 3 things that stand out. Obviously, the quarterback plays there, but their receivers. Vandy's got receivers this year. They got playmakers. They got guys that can catch, and they're beating up on teams at the line of scrimmage. That's not a big dog, Vandy, but they've taken every bit of sharp money. And one of the things that you pay attention to, Yanni talks about it. All right, this team got bet at 7. Are they getting bet at 6? Oh wow, they're getting bet at 6 too. All right, that tells us that it's the team. We bet pros bet the numbers and Joe's bet teams, but that tells us that pros are interested in the team in this spot. And with Vandy, they got bet down to 4, 4.5. Let's take those out too. 3.5. Let's take those out too. So there's been enough sharp money supporting the Commodores here at different numbers. I do think this isn't one of those games where I'm like looking to fade the steam. It's Vandy or pass, and I think they can hang very tough. And right now, maybe the best value is on the money line if you like the Commodores.
Yeah, we've seen that money line floating around. It was as high as plus 170, actually plus 180 on the 9th. We're now seeing it plus 126 kind of area for Vandy straight up on the money line, as that spread did move from 5.5 for South Carolina at home down to 3s. There is a 2.5 out there as well. So lots of love coming in here on Vandy, and I'm with you. I'd take Vandy straight up on the money line or pass on that one. Anything else, Teddy, you've got for us today?
I don't know. I mean, so I got a ton of free plays on YouTube. I got a ton of plays on my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Just visit WagerTalk.com. There's literally free play, a free play video. So there's all kinds of opinions about games, and it's not just me. I know there are many sites out there that have more free plays than we do and more free play videos. That's why you subscribe. That's why you hit the like button, because you get all this type of analysis. And of course, WagerTalk TV on YouTube. So I got a 3-play card for today. So far, we may add a little bit more before all said and done. Still working MLB for today, and obviously locked and loaded with a 5% big ticket in NFL action for tomorrow. So number one all time, WagerTalk NFL 5% big tickets. Check it out. Again, wt.buzz/TC. And we got these great deals. We got a short-term deal, the weekend package, $49. We have a month-long deal, which is very reasonably priced. And I always encourage people, don't buy a play, buy a package. And then we have like this every play, like 3 months, and then get a month free. I mean, 3 really good deals if you want short-term, medium-term, long-term. Check it out. My page and all the cappers pages at wagertalk.com.
Okay, so the Weekend Warrior pack is just $49 for your college football and NFL plays this weekend. How many picks are people getting for that, Teddy?
And MLB. So right now, my card is relatively short. Okay, right now, I have a grand total of 4 plays. I'm likely to add more over the course of the next 24 hours. But the only play I posted in the NFL this week so far is my 5% big ticket. We've been patiently waiting for lines to get where I want them to, and I expect them to get there at some point today. So we'll be adding to that card right now over the course of the next 24 hours. And I do expect to be involved on Monday night as well. That's another one where I'm waiting for the number to move where I hope it's going to move. We might be involved in both Monday night games, to be honest. So, yes, you'll get plenty of action, but not a ridiculous. I mean, some guys, Yanni, you got to be ready to fire 20 plays. I'm never going to put out 20 plays. It's just not how I work. So the action will be reasonable as opposed to there are people that want that action. I get it. Then Yanni's the right guy for you. If you're looking for fewer plays, I might be the right guy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Teddy, I want to thank you so much for joining us here for College Football Talk on the last call. Absolutely dominate the books this weekend. And best of luck in your 5% play tomorrow.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. Pleasure working with you.
Absolutely.
And good luck to all you guys out there in viewerland. Cheers.
Thank you, Teddy. Okay, guys, go over and give Teddy Covers a follow at Teddy_Covers on all social media. And make sure you do go over and check him out on WagerTalk.com. He mentioned that Weekend Warrior package. You guys don't want to miss out on that. We have so many fantastic games today, and I hope we were able to come at you with some bets that you're looking to get in on before these games kick off. It's going to be an absolutely loaded slate. Great day. If you're liking any underdogs, make sure you do comment under this video. Bragging rights are on the line, you guys. You want to make sure you get those out into public view. So if they do win, you can brag about it, because there's nothing worse than someone bragging about something they didn't talk about. So let's hear those bragging bets that you're going to put in today if you're liking anyone in the NFL tomorrow as well. But again, you guys, tomorrow, last call, you'll see Ariel sitting here. And then afterwards, you want to check out Yanni the Greek with his bet with Ace, the Steam Room. You want to follow that up. That's at noon Eastern. So you guys, thanks so much for joining me here on Last Call. Until next time, stay hot and let's make some